if you guys actually enjoy treating your customers like a piece of shit, because that's how I felt when I went to the Alamo Draft House. Okay? You know what? I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to text in your little crappy-ass theater. It was too fucking dark in that place for me to find my seat, alright? I was using my phone as a flashlight to get to my fucking seat. So excuse me for using my phone in USA, the United States of America, where you are free to text in a theater. I was not aware that I couldn't text in your theater, all right? I've texted in all the other theaters in Austin, and no one ever gave a fuck about what I was doing on my fucking phone, all right? And it was on silent. It wasn't on loud. It wasn't bothering anybody. You guys, obviously, were being assholes to me, and I'm sure that's what you do, you know, to rip people off. You take my money, and then you throw me out. You know, I will never be coming back to your Alamo Draft House or whatever. I'd rather go to a regular theater where people are actually polite. And, you know, I'm going to tell everyone about how you are. And I'm pretty sure you guys are being on purpose. So thanks for making me feel like a customer. Thanks for taking my money.
Phenom Radio is the home of the hottest indie music. Tune into the Phenom Radio Top 20 Countdown, Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific.
A razor sharp pencil, rate your paws pencil, when the sun.
So many times I played the fool, man, he'll be low. I'm too fly to be sitting here lonely, feeling for the ride, wanna put it on me. Pittsburgh. When you get inside and when I grind it, I can't deny it, feels so exciting, deeper.
That kind of change result is no restart. Result.
A better job, a better home, a better life. Who hasn't wished for these things, worked for them, and sought a place where they had a better chance of becoming real? For generations, Brockton has welcomed those seeking something better. From those who came in search of opportunity to today's multicultural population that makes us the most diverse community in all of New England. Brockton is a place where homes are more affordable, communities closer, where a strong and talented workforce fuels the success of businesses big and small, and the vision of a more diverse and equitable America is being realized every day. It's where ideas take root, businesses grow, communities thrive, new beginnings unfold, and the promise of a better life is kept. Brockton, Massachusetts, where better begins.
Time to grow up. You got a problem with your self-esteem and ego. Oh, here we go again. It's time to grow up now.
Teyana Marie, and you're watching The Booth, a Sinister One production on Hoobazoo.com.
It's caught in the crossfire.
Who the hell is this? Texting me at 5:46 in the evening? Now I'm steaming.
Wipe the coals out your eyes, honey.
See who's texting you and why.
It's my man Pop from the barbershop, saying he's at the gambling spot and heard an intricate plot.
No.
Yep. Some people want to stick me like flypaper, neighbor.
Slow down, love.
Please chill.
Drop the caper.
Remember all your peoples from the hill up in Brownsville? The ones you rolled dice with, smoked blunts, and got nice with?
Yeah, that's my man Fame up in Prospect. But they're my peoples. Nah, love wouldn't disrespect.
He didn't mean them.
No, they schooled me to some chumps that knew you back when you was clocking minor figures.
But now they heard you blowing up like nitro.
Great! Now they want to stick a knife in my windpipe slow.
Thank Fame for warning me, now I'm warning you!
So you got the Mac. Tell me what you want to do.
Damn. Why they want a sticker for her paper?
Damn.
They heard about the Rolexes and the Lexus with the Texas license plate out of state.
They heard about the pounds you got down in Georgetown. Now they heard you got half of Virginia locked down.
They even heard about the crib you bought your mom out in Florida, the 5th corridor.
Call the coroner.
There's gonna be a lot of slow singing.
And flowers bringing if my burglar alarm starts ringing.
What do you think all the guns are for?
An all-purpose war. I already got the Rottweilers by the door.
And I fed them gunpowder so they can devour the criminals. Trying to drop my decimals.
Yeah.
That's my girl.
Damn! Why they want to stick me for my cream?
It ain't a dream. Things ain't always what they seem.
It's the ones that smoke blunts with you. They see your picture, now they want to grab their guns and come and get you.
I'll mess around and get hardcore. C4 to the door. No beef no more.
Feel the rush.
Scandalous.
The more weed smoke I puff, the more dangerous. I don't give a damn about you and your recruit. What you gonna do when Big Katie comes for you? Mom, Dad, I'm not running. I'll bust my gun in.
Hold on. I hear somebody coming.
Stick me for my paper. Stick me for my paper. Stick me for my paper. Who the hell is this? Paging me at 5:46 in the morning. Crack of dawning, now I'm yawning. Wipe the cold out my eye. See who's this paging me and why. It's my man Pop from the barbershop. Told me he was in the gambling spot and heard the intricate plot. Some people wanna stick me like fly paper, neighbor. Slow down, love, please chill, drop the caper. Remember all your peoples from the hill up in Brownsville that you rolled dice with, smoke nuts I got nice with. Yeah, little Fame up in Prospect. Nah, them my peoples, nah, love wouldn't disrespect. I didn't say them, they schooled me to some chumps that you knew from back when you was clocking minor figures. Now they heard you blowing up like nitro, and they wanna stick the knife through your windpipe slow. So, thank Fame for warning me, cause now I'm warning you. I got the Mac, Biggie, tell me what you gonna do. Damn, why they wanna stick me for my paper? Damn, why they wanna stick me for my paper? Damn, why they wanna stick me for my paper? Damn, why they wanna stick me for my paper?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
This is blasphemy. This is madness. This is the Booth.
Broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching The Booth. And actually, we were having such a good off-air conversation. I didn't roll my stuff to the beginning so I could get to my sponsors. So let me get over here and get these in. But I got to thank my guests from last week. Nobody. I had a couple of guests that were scheduled for last week, and one guy came on and he seen the show and he was like, whoa. He's like, I got to do something big for this show. He's like, this is a whole different type of podcast. So Dante Baker, he actually rescheduled. He's got some breaking news that he wants to unveil on this show. And that's the funny thing, people. You know, there's a lot of people out here doing podcasts, a lot of people. And, you know, people see what people are doing with podcasts now, and they think that's the part. But I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I was doing podcasting before there was even a name for it. I was doing podcasting when my cousin and his crew started doing this internet radio thing down there out of Atlanta, the Yin Yang Twins. And I was on the show with Charlie Murphy and those guys and having a good old time. And everybody was like, internet radio? What is, you know, and that's how this whole thing started. And now here we are podcasting. You know, you see my show. I put a lot of work into the show. We got a lot of stuff. We got intros, outros. We've got sponsors. We've got ads. I got my little thing now called The Appetizer, where it's a pre-segment before the show begins, where I show videos from up-and-coming artists and indie artists. And then right now, as you see, is my first guest. Before I get into my sponsors, my first guest is running for the mayor of Brockton. 2 weeks ago, I had on Hamilton Rodriguez, a very controversial candidate who's running for mayor of Brockton. I had a lot of people in my inbox about that show. I know John himself was in the live chat for that show, and you was hemming him up. But let me get into my sponsors before we get into my first guest. Michael Douglas Barreto. This is a guy, he repairs your controllers, Xbox 360, Xbox, whatever controller you have. I have a Series X. If it drifts or if it breaks, send it out to him. You're back to gaming in 24 hours, 48 hours, ships it right back to you, puts a little sticker inside. If it starts drifting again or breaks again with the same problem, guess what? You ship it right back to him. He fixes it for free. All your controllers, you pay $25, and it's a lifetime warranty. I tell everybody, I've had people say, "Yo, Keith, I sent the controller to your man, bro." I'm like, "Yo, he's the truth." You know, I got 2 controllers. I game. I ain't gonna lie. I game. I game. The new Forza is out in October. Yeah. Call of Duty Season 5 has started. I'm a gamer. Yeah. And, you know, John, he's out here on PlayStation. And the thing about that now is that everything's going cross-play. So there's no more hating. Yeah, there's no more hating between Xbox and PlayStation. We can show some love and we could crush some heads on somebody in Madden together on 2 different platforms. Now you got PC added to it. It's becoming crazy. So, yeah, check out Michael Douglas Barreto. Also, 494,000 streams. The Teyana Marie library is out there. Get it up. Get it popping. She was so happy today that her amount of listeners on Spotify has gone up. She released 2 brand new singles. Summer Breeze, Got What You Want. And both of those are already in the hundreds. So thank you, everybody. And as you saw before the show came on, you saw a little bit different drops on June 30th. A little bit different is Infamous Ma's new single featuring Teyana Marie. These 2 ladies are coming on a whole different lyrical level. Tactical target systems. Those are those badass life-size zombie targets you see me at the range. Everybody asks me all these questions. Tactical target systems. Order now. He's got discounts all the time. I Love Boston Sports, black-owned business. Marlon Williams over there in South Shore Plaza. Got 3 locations. Got a chance to win a shirt. I Love Boston Sports. Support them. And then Kimberly Ann, Women Empowerment Photography. As you see my artist, Teyana Marie, in the photograph right there. She took a photo session there, but she's booking photo sessions. I just saw she has 1 photo session left before she's sold out till August. So you want to get in and get with Kimberly Ann. Before we get into the news booth, my first guest is in here with me. He is running for the mayor of Brockton. And I've known this man for a while. I've known this man for a long time because my stepson and his son they were all in the same bowling league together up at Westgate Lanes, you know, and I met him. We got to talking about things. We had a couple little things that we was going on. And at that time, he was involved with doing a basketball thing at East Side with all these Spears. And then I really didn't know how deep this dude was until COVID hit. Then COVID hit, and then we had the whole George Floyd stuff. And then I went up and, you know, everybody got together. And we went up there for a purpose, up to West Junior High. And I saw this man, John, get on the microphone. Unity activist, and you spoke. And not did you speak, you spoke. and from then on out, I said, you know what? I'm gonna keep an eye on this dude. You know, and you've been doing this thing with mentorship in the schooling system. You've been doing a lot of stuff, being a voice for those who don't have a voice, or those who, you know, sometimes have got that foot on their neck, that knee on their neck. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna get into this, and you know, I had Hamilton on the show. No, I don't pull any punches. I let it rip, but I'm fair and I keep it honest. That's why people are hitting me up to come on this show, and I respect that. I actually saw Steve Hook at the Juneteenth event, and Steve Hook and another young lady. They were saying, "Man, that was a good interview with Hamilton." They was like, you know, you got to do what you got to do, and be fair and be honest. But John C. Williams is on here, running for the city of mayor. Brockton coming up. This is going to be a tough election because in the news booth, I will be announcing another candidate has dropped his hat into the mix, and this is another serious name being dropped in the mix. So I'm going to get John's opinion on that one. But John, just let him know who you are and how you got started, because you've been in the Brockton school system. Now you're doing stuff for Teen Challenge and being a mentor over there. Let him know.
First of all, we go back further than that. We go back further than the bowling league, because our sons were on the same baseball team in Little League. Back.
That's right.
In farm league, right?
That's right.
George, that and our daughters were friends in the George. That's right. Way back. That's way back. Yeah.
That's right.
But as far as for me and my vision for Brockton, I love my city. People that know me know if there's one thing you can agree with me, you can agree with the way I do things or not. But the one thing that's indisputable is I love my city, and I'm for collaborating with individuals who are ready to do the work to move this city forward and be progressive. I've been to other cities, and we treat Brockton like a town. And in that small town, there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of underlying things in our city that we know are holding us back, there is no more stagnation. It's either you're progressing or you're regressing. And we're regressing as a city. We're regressing in our schools in terms of achievement and in terms of safety. Gang culture is running wild. If we listen to Mike Thomas last night, he basically said gang culture is out of control. We have no way to control it. We're going to continue to fight, but there's no active strategy on controlling the gang violence, and there's no active strategy in getting us to that 90% proficiency rate that he has promised us. In the promise, we've actually been going backwards for 3 years. We look at our roads. There are some really simple solutions. First and foremost, speed bumps and raised crosswalks. We've had too many civilians be hit, too many civilians be killed in our city. I didn't want to say anything. I know you suffer in silence. You know what I mean? There's a lot that you go through that you don't let the people know, and those are things that I remember. My older brother was hit by a car on Center Street when we were coming home from the Payne school. And this was back in the 80s. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And now you're just seeing so many from the distracted driving. We have to get a hold of that and start protecting our city, our citizens. But the number one reason.
But here's the thing too. You speak on it, but I gotta play devil's advocate here. Because I drive around this city a lot. And yes, we've had some tragedies with people getting hit by cars, but I just gotta let you know, pedestrians sometimes are their own worst enemies in this city too. Dressed up in all black, crossing 27 at night.
Yes.
Kids not crossing. What I hate is at Brockton High, you drive by Brockton High when school gets out, the kids aren't crossing at the right correctly. The light's green on 123, which is a state highway, and these kids are walking out in the traffic like, go ahead, hit me. I'm going to sue you. No, you're not, because you're going to be dead, number one. Number two, you shouldn't be in the crosswalk when the light is green. So we need to not just start putting speed bumps and things like that. I also feel like we need to start educating people and make them
aware. I don't mean to
aware.
cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
That. I was actually saving that for a bit later, but of course you were ahead of things. But in that, right, we need to educate in a lot of different areas. And with that, there needs to be a concerted effort out of City Hall to address these issues. I mean, issues like that, issues like pedestrians, issues like the bikes. It's more than just putting an ordinance up, because it has to be more than about fining people and arresting people. It has to be about education. That's what's going to get us to the space that we need to be in. There needs to be education for parents that have their children in schools. There needs to be education on the fads that these kids are going through. There needs to be education on things like vaping. We need to put ordinances in our city to keep our people safe. When you talk about vaping, our schools, I've been at the top levels. I sat at the table with Superintendent Thomas for the last 10 years. And I've been giving our schools simple solutions to some of the problems that we've had. The problem is there is a guiding force in our city that guides our city and runs our leaders, runs our superintendent, runs our mayor behind the scenes. And so when we have these simple solutions, they can't enact them at all, right? Because when we look at vaping in our schools, that should be one of our number one priorities. Because Keith, I don't know if you got a big mama in your family.
Yeah. Well, my mom was little, but she ran it like Big Mom.
She was Big Mom, right? Would you now? That's the house where you have the gatherings, where the family comes, right?
Yep.
Would someone in your family go into the middle of that household and start vaping?
Nope. I know where you're headed, man. I know, because you get me on a whole other topic.
And the thing is this: we have our kids in school, and our kids, they wear their coats all day. Why do they wear their coats all day? Because a cell phone pocket allows you to put the vape right there, and all you got to do is put your head down, and you're hitting the vape. The problem with that is vape goes in the air. And if you have a child that doesn't smoke, that is not exposed to either vapes or weed, marijuana smoke, when that goes into the air and they inhale that in their lungs, they're high. Everyone in that environment gets high. And so we have to attack that right now, because we have children who are experiencing highs in school and they don't even know it.
Man,
so
it's funny you talking about this, because I know someone.
Burger King, it's in CVS, it's everywhere.
I know someone who's watching this right now, who's going through this right now with someone, this vape issue. David Sullivan, Dave Haggerty, Travis Lloyd, how's it going, guys? I see you all in the chat. Dave Haggerty says Robert Sullivan is unbeatable. Just my opinion. You are allowed your opinion. Viana Marie is also in the chat, and you bring up a good point there with the vaping in the schools, because there's a lot of things the school system isn't aware of, and sometimes it takes parents to be hip to it. Like I said to Hamilton Rodriguez, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, I've said it before, right, and I'll say it again. part of the problem with the kids today in the schooling system and the problems that you have is because we don't have parents that are parents anymore. And that's, you and I, we grew up in an era where you left the house and your father or mother said to you, hey, better behave out in them streets. You don't know who we know. But today, and I know because you're a mentor, you're in the school system. I know there's probably times you had somebody who was a bad kid and you go to talk to a parent and that parent's mindset is that their kid can do no wrong. Their kid's the perfect angel. They don't want to accept that their kid's that bad kid. So now here you are, you're like, well, you know, it's tough. Your kid is the bad kid. We need to start doing something at home, you know?
But we also have the parents who, they're like me and you, Keith. They are in there with their young people, with their children, and at the same time, the way that young people can be in a school environment is different. We couldn't be that way in school environments, and they can now. And with that, you'll have a young person, they'll have their home self, and they'll have their school self, right? And the issue is, how do you bring that accountability that they have at home into the schools? One way we did that was with me and my team. I'm a father. So when I mentor young people like I treat my own children. Any parent out there that's ever had me mentoring their child, they'll tell you, I go above and beyond, and I do the job as if I'm mentoring my own. Even now, even though the school has terminated my contract, I just went to a kid that I had to mentor today. I'm going into the DYS tomorrow to go see a kid because I'm mentoring him, and hopefully we can get him home with some supports. I've got mobile crisis calling me. I still do this. I do this for free or for fee. It doesn't matter. This is what I've been called to do. And bringing parents together to give them an understanding, because the thing about parenting, we had that accountability when your father told you that, because he said, hey, listen, you know them people know me, right? Don't go out there embarrassing me. When I drop my son off every single day, the words I tell him is, remember what you represent. And I say that because he knows, everybody in that school knows who I am. And they know who you are. And you have my name. So you remember what it is you're representing every day. That's your job. Because when I go out there, I go to look to represent our family a certain way. And giving parents an understanding of that, giving parents an understanding of, human connection. You have no idea how many mothers I sit down with, and I'm with them and their child, and I say, listen, when's the last time you hugged your son? And a mother break down right there. The son break down right there. They'll hug each other and have a moment and say, listen, let's start with just doing that on a daily basis, right? Because we're living in the screen age. Everyone's on a screen. You can't get parents off the screen. You can't get kids off the screen. And so this ties right into some of the things that we can do as a community and as a school system to help with some of these things. One of the things being that pre-K issue, because we've removed early registration. You remember we were able to register our kids for kindergarten at 4, as long as they met the
criteria
before that birthday deadline, right? Yep. And now they got rid of that, which isn't a bad thing, because now you don't have 12, 13-year-olds entering Brockton High School not ready.
Right.
But in this day and age, you cannot leave children at home until 5 years old. Right now, you can't get your kid to come down to the dinner table, never mind to go out to school. So the longer we leave kids at home experiencing that time in the room, on the screen, it's going to be harder to get that child into a classroom to assimilate in the proper way. And if you can't do that, you're ruining his academic career.
Right. And Hamilton said that he had the same thing. He says it does. Everybody that we've talked to has said it does start in the home. So it is kind of a uphill battle, and it's great stuff. Let's get into this. Your thoughts. Why did you want to throw your name into the hat for this mayor's race this year?
We've been I don't want to say victims, but we've had leadership in this city that has been inadequate. They've been inept and they've been inaccessible. It's about time that a city like Brockton, we live in one of the most special places in this country. And when you travel this country, you see what I'm talking about. And I know you get out there. I know you get out and get it on the slingshot. You get out there on whatever has wheels and a seat, you're gonna be out there in it. And the thing is, when you go other places, first and foremost, I don't know about you, but I always meet somebody from Brockton. I don't care where I'm at. I meet people from Brockton. But also, you have towns and cities, they have their little Italies, they'll have their Chinatowns. They'll be diverse, but they're diverse in pockets, not in Brockton. Not in Brockton. You can live next to anybody. Your neighbor's going to be Cambodian, Vietnamese, Haitian, Lithuanian, Italian.
Guatemalans are popping up in this city real strong too.
Guatemalan, Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to have a mix of that. You're going to go out and you're going to experience people. And we all know that's the only thing that breaks down racism is communication, right? Mm-hmm. And so in Brockton, if you grow up with a certain mindset, you had to intentionally go out and gain that mindset because you've had access. So in a city like this, first of all, we need to be represented by people that look like us and not only look like us, but understand our condition. Because we're being administrated over by people who are just looking to fill other people's pockets and fill an agenda that isn't in the best interest of Brocktonians. We need somebody that's going to go in, clean up our city, and open the door for us to be a progressive, modern city. We operate like we're in the 50s, Keith. When you look at our department, yeah. We operate like a small town in the 50s.
And that's my biggest complaint with this city is that, you have a certain group of NIMBYs who live in this city who still think that Brockton is a suburb or a small town. And some of these NIMBYs who fight everything and make noise about everything, they don't realize that we're a city now. It's time to move forward. We can't be thinking like a town. We need more businesses. We need that section of 123 up by Brockton High to be loaded with businesses to bring our tax base down like everybody's enjoying all the businesses on 44.
Everywhere else.
Yep. I had a rumor, it's not been confirmed, but it's a pretty good rumor that the fairgrounds is going to become an Amazon site. The trucks have been there for the last 4 years, every Christmas.
Yep.
And as soon as I posted this rumor, the NIMBYs were out, and all of a sudden they was like, I don't want that in my city. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? You bring an Amazon here, and you get $25 an hour jobs that go to Brockton residents first. You get benefits. You get 2 years of construction that's going to inject into your city. Come on now. Come on.
No, but the thing is, when we do something like that, we have to have people in place that are going to make sure we get put in on the deal. Like you said, do Brockton residents get first crack at those jobs? Do we have and it's not only first crack at the jobs. We want you to maintain a certain part of your workforce as Brocktonians. That would be in your best interest. Yep. And it would be in the cities. We have to go into these contracts and we have to go into these deals with Brockton's best interest in mind. We got these people, they're going to these and getting these outside developers to come in, which is okay. We want a better city, but we need to tie Brockton into this because what we're doing is building a better city for other people to live in.
And here's my other worry on this, and I'd like to hear your word on this if you were to become mayor. One of the things we all want is a better city here. And, like I said, on this show already that, this new emergency center that's going at the top. How do you keep Brockton what it is without creating gentrification? As you know, we're seeing in Mission Hill. I grew up in Mission Hill in Boston. You got apartments that were projects, people getting killed daily in these projects in Mission Hill. And now it's gentrification. There's all white people down there. Those apartments are now $2.1 million as condos. So how do you keep Brockton from falling into that trap of gentrification?
And also look at Franklin Hill.
Yeah.
Right. But I just came back from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And Minneapolis, I've been there a couple years ago, when the George Floyd thing happened. And I had also been there a couple years before that for the Final Four. And when you look at the progression of a city like Minneapolis, you could say there's it's been gentrified, but they've had, and George Floyd, that situation had something to do with it. Their Black community stayed involved. Their minority communities, they have a whole section where all you see is like Spanish businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their communities stayed involved. They went to town hall meetings. They went and made sure that while this money was getting doled out, that they got their piece. And they took their representation. They said, we are going to be represented at this table and you're not going to cut us out, right? And so we have to look at that as Brocktonians. You're going to give up something. No question. You're going to give up something. But we haven't even done the basic interventions to keep people here and to make the community safe right now. Right? We haven't done anything for our safety, right? Look at we have some of the best police officers as a whole. When you look at our police force, I know a lot of people that's on the police force. We have great people on the police force. And then we have a few that are terrible, that make our police force, put our police force in a bad light, right? Our city should be stepping in on that. There's no way we should have police officers that everyone in our community knows is corrupt. Everyone in our community knows is taking advantage and terrorizing our community. There's no way we should be setting that example to our young people, especially our young people that want to get into law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so it's really as simple as saying, let's be 100% honest and upfront. We want our young people to grow. We want our young people to take the reins and really get serious about things. We have to do it as leaders. Mm-hmm. I will go out there and say, look at what our leaders are doing. They're not the brightest bulbs in the box. They've totally mismanaged a lot of money. And we can't give them a Brockton pass for that. We can't say, oh, well, they're cool. I had their father as a teacher, so it's okay. No, it's not. Because our kids are going to have to suffer for that. For the decisions that we're making out there. If we're going to go buy a whole transportation company, then at the end of the day, in order for that thing to be profitable, then we need to be out there busing kids in Avon. We need to be offering our services to Easton. We need to be offering our services to other cities so that we can turn a profit on that.
Yeah, you can do charters.
Look at what we did. We use short-term money for a long-term investment. And you can say, oh, well, long-term, way down the line. Well, way down the line isn't helping our proficiency scores right now. Way down the line isn't helping the fact that we went from 26% retention rate in the 9th grade to 30% in 1 year. This last year, it just came out. Mike Thomas said it last night. 30% retention rate. If everyone watches the forum that the NAACP had last night, it's on their page with the mayor and the super. They're telling you we have no answers. We have no answers for safety in your schools. I have answers, though. I have answers to what's been said. When Mike Thomas said he's going down to become the principal of Brockton High, as well as the superintendent, that's them saying he's better suited for that. He is.
And look, that move was no surprise to me, because when the incident happened with the girls and the stabbing, the first thing I said was, well, this is what happens when you get lax on something that you had that was perfect, but you gave in to everybody complaining about the fact that they were getting the robocalls that their kid was late to class because the checks were just taking too long. And then when you start going by the wayside and getting comfortable, this is what happens.
This ain't about getting comfortable. Kids have always been able to get weapons in the school. They know that. And the administration knows it. And see, that's the problem here, Keith. Everyone's playing with our kids' safety. The superintendent knows I've been in his office for the last 7 years telling him someone's going to die in our school system. And somebody would have had I not been there over at the Huntington school.
Mm-hmm.
That young man would have died right there. And so we have to stop playing with our kids' safety. These kids know they can get things into the school. They know they should have taken the phones out of the school a long time ago. Because
the thing is,
with 4,000 kids.
And the thing is, people, and I know a lot of people, they come on and they bash Brockton. It's not just the Brockton. This school thing is all over. When I shared that story last week from Mississippi, where they were going to pull a hit on the school bus, and the girls set these were 13-year-old, 14-year-old kids setting up a hit. This isn't just Brockton. This is a nationwide epidemic.
Keith, the problem, though, that I have when people say that is my child's not in Mississippi school. My child's in Brockton schools. And Brockton has the ability. We have the ability to set the right things in place. We're just making stupid decisions at the top. And we're scared to call it out because people are cool. No, we went and put that whole system in Squalid. Everyone's used to it. All the teachers use it on every level. And now we got to take it out. Somebody should have looked at that before we put it in. We're spending millions on that. When we say we spent millions on laptops, no, we didn't. We had thousands of laptops already in the district. That's why if you have a child in the school system, they didn't all get brand new laptops. They didn't, because we had thousands of them sitting right here. When we talk about PPE that we spent money on, go to the warehouse and see how many boxes of hand sanitizer, how many boxes of shields, how many boxes of PPE is just sitting there. We connected Greg Fernandez with, and he started the Rose Conservatory, which is the premier music program in this city. The school system, after a year, they said, oh, wait, he's getting a presence. They went and set him up with drums, $6,000 worth of drums. And he used them in the program. As soon as the school cut ties with him, they took the drums back. For what? To sit them in a warehouse? That's $6,000 worth of drums. And so we're doing things like this. We're talking about trying to keep the school safe. We built a whole program. I sat with Mike Thomas and built a program so that we can take kids, when they go through elementary school, they develop their people. They develop adjustment counselors, teachers that become their safety net. Then they go to middle school and they don't have a safety net anymore, and the rules change. Now, discipline you get right up for, and suspensions start coming into play.
Correct.
But they don't have that person. So we had mentors that would come by. We're connected with them since the 2nd, 3rd grade. We're still connected to their old teachers. Let the new building know, listen, these are the issues with this young person, and we can have a continuum. And that goes into high school as well. We built that because we knew that was the way of the future. And we dismantled it for one reason. And this is why we have to change leadership in Brockton. We dismantled it because there were a group of police officers who said that I shouldn't be mentoring kids because I'm an ex-convict. That's it. We have the email from the city solicitor to the mayor and to Mike Thomas, the superintendent, that specifically says from Ernie Bell and the city solicitor that my contract, Roosevelt Wilson and Renato Wilson's contract should be terminated because we're ex-convicts and he grew up with those people and they shouldn't be working with kids. And he threatened the superintendent that he was going to take things to the enterprise, and they were trying to put him in a compromised position so that they would have to terminate our contracts. And at this time, Roosevelt Wilson, people know who he is, and they know
I know
he's
Roro. I grew up with
a
Roro.
tremendous job. Absolutely. So when you see someone like that, someone like me, and we've become individuals who are helping our kids, why would you want to even disrupt that? Right. And that's the type of city that we have right now. And we can't.
And sometimes the people from the streets have been the best people to get through to some of these kids. But let's talk about that, because we went a little bit over in the interview, but I got to get these questions in for you. You know, you're a black man, you're running for mayor, and let's be honest here. You're talking about the legal issues you have. You're talking about the fact that being an ex-con, and you're still going to throw your hat in for mayor. And let's be honest here. The record here for black men running for mayor has been disgusting. I love Brockton as a city. I love how all the people who live here, but the way Brockton black men who've run for mayor have been treated crappy in this city. I was a big fan of Jay Stewart when Jay Stewart was running, and he was a big threat to take the throne, a big threat. But what did our city do behind the scenes? They went on this whole thing, this whole tirade about him being gay. So what? He's gay. My brother's gay. That don't mean the man can't run the city because he's gay. But they went out here, they put these flyers on people's cars. They got all the homophobes in Brockton riled up, and Jay Stewart didn't win the election twice. Because we had a bunch of homophobes that ran his campaign under the train track, and then we had Jimmie Pereira, who in 2017 at 26, he was a major threat to becoming a mayor, and he was young, and I got it. That first year in 2017, Jimmie was young. He really didn't have that experience, but he made that noise. And what happened? Oh, well, in 2020, simple. He gets pulled over. They find a bullet in his car. That's not even his car, but it's to the point where it was such a bad story, it ruined his career. And I loved Jimmie. And I felt like, man, this story is crazy. It's a shell in his girlfriend's car. It's not even his car. Yet we made this story to be the biggest bad guy story on the face of this planet. And that was another black man gone from the threat of becoming mayor in this city. So how are you going to fight that whole possibility with your record and some of the legal things that we've seen out here?
You're never going to fight that, because we're conditioned in this country to dislike and distrust black men. We've been conditioned that way from the beginning, since you go all the way back to Birth of a Nation. We've been conditioned to that. The only thing that I can do is get out there and show people who I truly am. I feel I have enough equity in this city. I'm talking about blood, sweat, and tears equity. I'm not talking about just out there signing papers and pushing and asking people to vote for me. I got blood, sweat, and tears equity in this city. And anyone that's ever worked with me or for me, I bring a certain intelligence level to every environment that I'm in. I don't have a degree. I've done time in state prison. But at the same time, when you see the decisions being made at the upper levels of the school department, I'm in those rooms. I'm not only in those rooms, I'm the one talking. I'm the one coming up with policies. I'm the one telling your administrators what's going on in the school and how to fix it. I'm the solution man. I'm Batman in there. When it comes to that type of stuff, that's what I do. The only reason people question my intelligence is because I'm a black man. They've never seen what I do. They've never seen me in action. But because I'm black, I already know I'm gonna face those things. And all I can do, Keith, is come out here. The difference between me and a lot of other candidates that have run, first of all, my name recognition. People know who I am. Second, I'm betting everything on the youth. The youth know me. And that demographic, that group between 19 and I say 27, 28, they've realized they were ill prepared for the world. They realized, wait a minute. And they made a lot of mistakes, but nobody else told them what was up. they realize what's going on with the young people because they're in between. A lot of us older people, we don't even know. You're more tech savvy. You're in the loop. You're a gamer. So just being a gamer, you're in the loop with things that are going on in this new age. But a lot of adults aren't. These young people are, and they can see the danger that the younger people, the school age kids now, that they're in. And if we don't step in, if we don't start controlling certain things, if we don't start investing in our digital creators, our influencers, if we don't start investing in those fields, and it's a small investment that we can bring a large return in on. If we don't start investing in the gamer sector and start building esports teams and start getting young people into these fields and developing them with a connection to the city, we're going to lose them.
Hold on, we got a lot of people in the chat. I got a lot of people in the chat. Sammy Sergio, who owns Gee's Lounge. What's up, Sammy? I see you in here.
Sammy.
I actually got to try to get down there on a Tuesday night and broadcast from there. Damani Roman is watching. Linda Texera Reyes. She said, man, listen, I had a girls program that was successfully mostly black and brown girls, and they got rid of me with no explanation, no warning. The system is designed to be racist. Michelle Henson is warning. Sorry, I'm late to the show.
Reyes had started out with Champion City.
Okay, and then she says you're black and you don't fit the preferred model. We got a lot of stuff to talk about because he's staying on to talk on some topics, but you got to tell people how they can follow your campaign and how they can support you, man.
All right, we just got our door hangers made today. The main way is to keep following my John C. Williams page. We have our website set to publish this week. That is johncwilliamsformayor.com. johncwilliamsformayor.com. That will publish this week. I've really taken the time to polish myself up. I've taken the time to build bridges in other communities, to really give the people of Brockton the best representative that I feel that they can have. This isn't about retaliation. This isn't about certain individuals. This is about bringing our community together so that we can build a better city. That's it. Mm-hmm. Also, I will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 2 and from 6 to 8. I'll just be sitting outside in the City Hall amphitheater. Anybody that wants to get to know who I am, wants to get to know about me as a person, you want to know about my vision, you want to know how you can connect and collaborate, you want to know about my cases, you want to know about my history, I tell you. You want to know about anything about me, I'm truly an open book. And just to add to that, anyone that knows how to read a Corey, if you've ever read my Corey, this speaks to accountability and transparency. When you read my Corey, you see anything that I've ever done, they didn't have to take me to trial. I pled guilty to it. No deal, nothing like that. I pled guilty. I did it. Give me my consequence. And I've served all of my sentences. I've never had parole. So I've given everything that I had to give, everything that the state said you have to do to compensate for the decision you made. I took that. I did it, and I came back and was better. Anything that I didn't do, I don't have anything where they've had to convict me. Anytime I've gone to trial, not guilty. Any case that's been put on me that's been BS, dismissed. People can look. I'm proud to show my Corey because I paid the price. I paid what they said I had to pay for everything that I've done.
Right.
So I'm good with that, and I'm giving access to people. We will be setting up oversight boards for every single city department in the city, including the mayor's office. We'll be setting up oversight boards. So people, please, when we have community meetings, come out. They are being put together to give people teeth in the city. We're not putting together boards and commissions just to be empty so you can give us recommendations that we're never going to use. That's what previous mayors have done. That's what this mayor has done. The George Floyd that was a travesty because they gave recommendations like body cameras, which is something that I will institute immediately. Every law enforcement officer in this city will wear a body camera or you won't work for Brockton. Period.
And
we deserve that.
Before we get into my topics to talk about, there is a question that I got to let people know. It's not a question. It's something that I want every person who's running for office and every person who's in politics. One thing that pisses me off, and this goes back to the school thing, the importance of filling out the census and the voter registration forms, because that is how even though Mike Thomas passed that budget and the budget was passed, the issue here was we lost kids to charter schools. Please tell people the importance, because you know how it is. People get that paper and they throw it away. You know, you're in the school system. We can get more of this and that if we properly show how many people we have in this city. Please talk on that.
Absolutely. And see, the thing is this, right? Because look, man, I'm not from the nice house on the nice street. You know what I mean? People know where I'm from. I'm from the east side. I live on Spring Street now. So I get it. You know, we're really apprehensive as minorities and as immigrants. We're really apprehensive about filling out government forms. I get it. We have to now look at what's in the best interest of us and our kids, right? And I think we do a poor job in promoting that as a city. First of all, I want to state that. I think we do a poor job in promoting that. Everything now, you know, you're on the internet. Everything is about influencers. Everything is about getting to the people who are going to influence that demographic that you're targeting, right? And so we do a poor job of connecting with our young people, connecting with the people that have influence in certain atmospheres. And we can do a better job as a city to help promote it and to make it safer for people. I think that's the number one thing. People have to feel safe with filling that form out and knowing, look, that's not Keith, you know, I know you got some peoples that's in the mix, and when people come to their house, they're, what? Nah,
yeah, I've had arguments with those people.
That thing out.
Yeah, I've had arguments with them people.
Right. And so we have to, you know, as a group. One thing that we're doing, I want to hit you up to join this group. We have some black men that are getting together. We have one with male restoration group, but we have another group of black men that's just looking at certain issues in the city that affect us, and we're looking to promote it. One thing being health. You know what I mean? The census, yes, but also health. We have a lot of guys in our community, our age, that have passed recently.
Yeah, I'm tired of looking at Facebook some of these last few months, man.
That have passed, and it's like, right. And so we have issues that we have to come together around and really start promoting things in our city as such. You know, census being major in our community, health being major in our community.
And I thank you for that, because I so far every politician that's come on this show has said the importance of getting these voter registrations and census filled out, because everybody watches the show. I had somebody say to me, man, you got a lot of followers. Well, this is what I really want to do. I want to be able to have a proper budget. And also, before we get into these topics, I know we spent a lot of time talking, and he's going to stay on with these topics. I know I mentioned gentrification, people, and I know some people out here are like, oh, look, gentrification doesn't just affect black people. Gentrification affects, you go to South Boston right now. South Boston is like a Mission Hill. South Boston was the white version of Mission Hill. All them mom and pop businesses in South Boston, they got millions and millions of dollars to sell Liberty Bell, to sell the steak place, or They all got all this money to sell. They put these condos up in South Boston, and guess what? The people who live in those condos, they're not your blue-collar, middle-class white people down in Southie no more. These are people that are on the seaport paying $3,000 a month for their condos. So gentrification, it sees no colors. It's a money thing.
Oh,
remember that, people. Gentrification is a money thing. It don't see no color. It can come in and wipe out your community, and it don't care about what color you are. It's about the green you got. At the end of the day.
That's it. That's it.
Yep, and that's why I said
another thing speaking to the enrollment numbers that were hemorrhaging way before COVID, first of all. That also is a safety issue. How many people do you know personally that are like, I'm not sending my child to Brockton High? You crazy? There's no way. And that, because the numbers, Mike Thomas once again said it last night, the numbers that are really affecting us are the losses at Brockton High, the loss in students in Brockton High, because of that, Brockton High alone lost $6 million, right? And he said it last night. I don't think this is fair, but he said, look, we can't take a $6 million hit in Brockton High, so we're going to have to spread that out throughout the whole district. We're going to have to take money from everybody else, right? And so when you look at why they're moving the Edison and the Champion, they're putting them together as one program and moving them into the green is so that the numbers can go back up in the high school and they can get that money back. It's a monetary thing, but at least be honest with us, because our kids' safety is at risk now.
Right.
You're compromising kids' safety for money.
Right.
And if that was a strategy, because we were already hemorrhaging enrollment, then you should have did this when we got $70 million in between ARPA and SOA and ESSER money. You should have did it then. That's when we should have been calling the community together and having community meetings and saying, what should we be doing? When we had the money to do something. Not now. After you've wasted all the money the way you wanted to, and now you're asking the people, what can we do to pull our bootstraps up? No.
Your phone keeps going out of focus. We can't see you. I don't know. I think it's the light.
Yeah.
It's the light. We got a lot more people in the chat. Michelle Henson, what's going on? Amar Anthony Reed Sr., what's up, man? The man that makes all that good food. You be watching him. It's crazy stuff. We got.
Hey, I just want to say, can I shout out Amar and say to the people, first of all, listen, anyone who hasn't tried his fusion food, man, try it. And once you do, if you like it, make sure to support him so he can get that food truck, so we can have that on a consistent basis and more people can have access to that cuisine, man.
So I got to blow through these topics. We're at 7:57. It's my show. I can go over if I want to go over a little bit. So let's get into the news booth. In the news booth, hey, Brockton After Dark is returning on July 5th. This is a great program. The Brockton High School pool, the Manning pool, that is going to be open till 9 o'clock, which we need in the heat. They also got the addition of some new stuff. I saw pickleball is going to be part of the Brockton After Dark. A lot of people were griping because there's no basketball, and I think that might be because Mario Lamar has this program thing that's kicking off. You don't want to really step on his toes. You want his to succeed, right?
Yeah, and you also want the best quality out of every grouping. So every sport. So he has that on lock. If you want quality basketball, please go over there. I've had a team in that league for years. We won't have a team this year because Mario hates when we win the championships. I
hope Mario's won.
We won 3.
Yeah.
We won 3. And that hands down, best league in the city. It gives the opportunity to showcase some of the best talent we have in our city. We have some guys that come from the outside as well. You got guys that play overseas, guys that play D1 ball. You got to get down. If you like basketball, you got to get down to see them. And also, I also have to always shout out my Massasoit Warriors, because not enough people go out to support our Massasoit Warriors. And Jim Stapleton, who has been the coach of the decade over there. I believe he's won about 4 or 5 state championships. Mm-hmm. And then just for kicks, he decided to coach the women's soccer team and won Coach of the Year last year.
Yes, he did.
Shout out to Coach Jim Stapleton. And on top of that, he's a teacher at South and organized a gala to raise money to do more things at South. So shout out to Jim Stapleton, one of the champions of our city. I always say he's the toughest SOB I've ever met. He's a winner. But shout out to Jim Stapleton. I want to give him his flowers now. He has raised a lot of young men in our city and given them opportunities. So shout out.
Nice. Amar dropped his link. People check him out. Julie Anderson says, good luck, John. Also in the news booth, Fred Fontaine has announced he is going to run for mayor. So it's now very interesting. We've had Hamilton Rodriguez. Yes. We've got Robert Sullivan running for re-election. We've got John C., who's on with us right now. And Fred Fontaine has dropped his hat into this race for Brockton. That's that Haitian community, that Caribbean community. Let's see if they're going to come out and support him. Also in the news booth, man, 4 children earlier last week were found in a South Boston apartment amid squalid conditions. The EMTs were called for an unresponsive person in the apartment. The EMTs arrived on the scene in the South Boston apartment. They found 4 kids, young kids, hidden in the back of a bedroom amongst drug paraphernalia, sex toys. So we don't even know what the hell was going on with these kids. My prayers go out to whatever was going on, because whatever was going on, these kids will never be normal. These kids are probably going to be dealing with a lifetime of trauma. My prayers go out to these kids. I pray that they have positive lives. This is going to be tough. Nobody knows what went on with these kids, but from what they say, the conditions were horrible. And for the 4 men, street justice, that jail justice, yo, it's no joke. Jail justice is real.
You know, people don't know, and this is a story that shows people don't know what people have been through in their life, right? And so, you know, these young people are going to have, you know, a tough one. They're going to deal with a lot of trauma, you know, and it's going to be important to see, you know, what happens throughout the years and the type of support that they're given, you know, throughout the years. You know, people don't think beyond the incident, you know what I mean? Because years later, those individuals grow into people, into grown human beings with those traumas.
Yeah. It's tough. We don't even know if these kids are going to have addictions. We don't know if these kids were given drugs. It's a scary story. Let's get into the legal booth. There has been a man, Christopher Ferguson, 41 years old. He's been arrested in the brutal slayings of the 3 elderly people in Newton. Gilda, Jill Diamore, 73, her husband Bruno, 74, and his mother, Lucia, 97. There's no motive. There's no reason as to why. All we know is this man broke into the home and just stabbed these 3 people to death. This is Newton. This is everywhere, people. This is everywhere, people. It's a scary story. 2 young men. Two young men were just shot in Braintree.
They were renewing their vows. They're renewing their vows. 50th anniversary. It's such a devastating story. I just say people keep an open mind on this. I don't know the full details yet. I don't think anybody knows the full details, but it's definitely something.
No, Newton's being real hushed about it. They're being real hushed about it. Yeah, real hush about it.
This one seems weird. I just say let's look at what happens.
Yep. Michelle Wu is calling the incident extremely disturbing. If people don't understand what is going on here, there was a former DCF worker who was able to get herself registered in multiple Boston schools, and she was attending these schools as a student. She's a 30-something-year-old woman, an ex-DCF. The question now is was she having sexual relations with any of these kids? What would possess? There's a lot of questions out there that aren't being answered. Everybody's being real tight-lipped about this. First of all, she's DCF worker. My feeling is she probably exploited. She exploited the system to get herself in these schools, because I don't think she would have been able to get herself in these schools just by registering. I think she, being a DCF worker, she exploited herself, and that's how she got in. But Michelle Wu was saying extremely, extremely disturbing at this fact that she was able to get herself in. In the entertainment booth, Teyana Taylor's mom goes viral and off script to surprise her daughter with a BET award for Best New Director. To be honest, I thought it was a spur of the moment thing, but then right after they were done, they had an ad for the phone. BET put the thing up and said the phone, and then they went to a commercial and it was an ad for the phone. So I think that this whole Teyana Taylor and her mom, this thing with the phone, I think it was scripted. And I think they did it because the writers were all on strike and they just had to do these things to get them going. Also at the BET Awards, I'm gonna show a video for you guys, and me and John are gonna chop it up about this video because Busta Rhymes took home the Lifetime Achievement Award, and Busta Rhymes he put on a speech, and in this speech he said that first of all he knows the people who control the streaming, and he said that the people who control the streaming are ready to dial back how much rap music is being played on the streaming sites because of the petty beefs and violence that's been going on behind the scenes in rap with this drill rap phenomenon that's out there. And he said, one of the things he said was he would go to a studio and he said that, these days and these guys would have little beefs with each other and don't want to work together for the littlest petty thing. And he said back in the day, you put that shit aside because everybody wanted to make that money. He went on to talk about how he broke up with leaders with the new school, kicked them out, and he said at that time his song was popping. He said what he would do is he would get a blunt, roll up to the studio, find out who was there, act like he lost his book, left his book behind. He said and he said he would pass the blunt. He said he would think of his 16 bars, lay it down. And then they would be like, how much you want for coming in? And he said, 13,000, 20,000. Yep. And he said he pioneered the feature. That's how the feature started. And I was like, oh, shoot. Busta told him. But Busta went on and told people time to put it all aside. And he also put promoters and record companies on the spot. And he said, stop promoting, tying people up and all this violence. And let's get back to the positive rap that foundation was lived in, because you go back to a song like Slick Rick's Children's Story. Slick Rick's Children's Story had violence in it. It told the tragic story of a young man who robbed somebody with a gun. He pulled the gun on a cop. The whole story is a violent story, but it was done with not one swear, not one N-bomb. And the song is classic history. So for someone to think and say, well, you can't make music like that. Yes, you can. Because a lot of hip hop, when you go back to that early hip hop, it wasn't the N-bomb. Will Smith did it. Redman's album, one F-bomb in his first single. So to say that you can't make an album without having to rhyme every word with the N-word and rhyme every word with the F-bomb, you're out of your mind, bro.
That means you don't understand hip hop and where lyricism came from, because it was about how creative you could be with the lyrics, right? It was about that at one time. I really love what Busta was saying, because he was saying, look, this is about y'all are messing up the bag. We're talking about 50 years of hip hop. It took a lot of sacrifice to get to this point, right? To where hip hop influences just about every industry, right? It took a lot to get to this point, a lot of sacrifices. The money that people are making off of it now just nonchalantly people had to grind for nothing for that. You know what I mean? So show some respect and let's evolve the culture. Let's make sure that we continue to go strong and realize the influence that we have, especially on our young people.
Yep, he spoke on it. And he spoke on some things, and we're running over. So I was going to show the video called Broski, which is Joyner Lucas's video, Broski. And the video just dropped. And Joyner, and here's a funny thing. For Best Rap Album, it was Kendrick Lamar. And for those who know Kendrick Lamar's album should be bumping in everybody's car in every neighborhood in the black community. But guess what? We don't. Why? Because Kendrick Lamar's album talks about the things that the black community really doesn't want to talk about openly. He talks about the toxic, abusive relationships. He talks about the molestive uncle that everybody in the family knows is a molester, but nobody lets him watch the kids or keeps the kids. He talked about, nobody wants to talk about that, but Kendrick Lamar's album did win. So people know. Broski is on a whole nother tip. Joyner Lucas is having his dinner. He's with his brother. You know what? It's my show.
Yeah.
It's my show. It's my show. It's my show.
Yes.
It's my show. I'm gonna show this video from Joyner Lucas. My man here, John, hasn't seen it yet because, to be honest, he's got to see it because we're gonna break down this discussion.
Right.
Because it's a black community touchy subject, and we're talking about family. We talking about family because Deion Sanders, just before he left Jackson State University, Deion Sanders got ripped apart, and we talked about this, John, because I posted it. You was one of the first ones to chime on it.
Yep.
Deion Sanders was going home. His team was going home for Thanksgiving break. They were 2 wins away from a perfect record, and Deion came out publicly because all of the team meetings and stuff with the kids was always on Instagram. Because Deion did it right. He did it right. And our black community came after Deion. Why did the black community come after Deion? Because he overstepped his boundaries. Why? Because Deion told his players, when you go home, remember that some of the people who are supposed to love you don't love you.
Yep.
And when I heard him say that, I got chills when Deion said that, because you know what? He was right. Because here you are, you're at Jackson State, you 10-0 right now, you're popping all over the place, but guess what? When you go home, that homeboy that you thought was your homeboy, he's not really your homeboy no more. That brother that you thought was your brother, he's not your brother. You know that cousin that you thought was your cousin, he's not your cousin no more. And if they're going to try to mess up your bag or get you caught up in some stuff, that girl that you thought was your girl, and a lot of people in the black community, they came after him. And I was like, why y'all coming after him? He's speaking the truth, yo. He's speaking the truth. So I'm going to show you this video. And once again, Joyner Lucas drops a gem. It's uncensored because I want to get the point across. But here it is. This is Joyner Lucas's new video. This is Broski. Check it out. We're going to chop it up after this on the thoughts on it. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you.
Hey, long enough to see me down. And if I ever come down, I'll be falling on the solid ground. Falling on the solid ground. Hey, long enough to see me down. And if I ever come down, I'll be falling on the solid ground.
Today I had a conversation with one of my bros. My homie, he's been close to me since we were 6 years old. He calls my mama mom. He's seen all of my highs and lows, from school fights to sharing clothes, from b-ball to fucking hoes. He sat me down to let me know some things he never told me, things he never got a chance to say or even show me. He said, I know that I don't tell you often, maybe not even at all, but I'm so proud of you and your success, broski. And I admire how you chase your dreams, that shit's courageous. Thank you for never switching up when you got rich and famous. Thank you for never giving up on me or having lesser love for me whenever we lose touch and be on different pages. I hope you know I'm here for you the way you there for me. It's crazy you done more for me than on my family tree. And when I say I got your back, just know I really squeeze and make some niggas really bleed. That's really what I really mean. I'm proud of how much you matured and grew, but you still you. The world knows you for your talent, but I know the real you. And all your traumas behind closed doors you never held through. And all the pain you act like you don't feel, but you still do. I love the fact you keep your shit together mentally. You work hard for your respect, don't need no empathy. When people look you over and shut you out intentionally, you always said if they don't fuck with you, they will eventually. And remember when I went to prison, when I did a bid and you the only one that came to visit. Put money on my books and sent me pictures of some bitches. They don't make them like you no more, my nigga, you just different. And bro, you ain't have to pay my niece's tuition or set me up with that new job and try to teach me the business. Always quick to hold me down before you speak your opinion. What goes around comes around, and that's the reason you winning. But listen, I was thinking maybe, since you my broski and I've been there since we was babies, you can hit the bank and break me off with something wavy. Maybe just a couple $100,000, nothing crazy. Cause I've been hurting lately, and I deserve it maybe. And if you can't do it, that's cool, it ain't like I'll be angry. You still my broski and I love you, but that's kinda shady. Cause I've been going through some shit, it ain't like I'm just lazy. So maybe you should pay me. I quit my job cause I don't wanna work for no other niggas. Well, maybe works for some, don't work for some other niggas. Yeah, they pay good, but you know I'm a stubborn nigga. Plus I know you got my back, right? If not, then fuck it, I ain't asking again. Just don't forget who walked with you when you're back to the wind. And don't forget whose ideas I got you rapping again when you lost your passion and got lazy and was slacking and shit. And please don't treat me like them niggas that be asking for shit. Cause I never asked you for a damn thing. I'd rather pull a hamstring and then run across some fan blades while jumping out of airplane. Or sitting in the damn rain while begging for some spare change. I'm sorry that we all can't be talented and rich like you. The little people still struggle, we ain't lit like you. And if we being honest, it don't really seem like you want me to chase my dreams so I can get like you. And lately you been on some sucker shit, that's what I see, broski. I hope you know that hater shit is a disease, broski. Cause last time I checked, we was a fucking team. And just because you got paper don't mean that you better than me, broski. I know everything about you, I know every single secret. I know where you rest your head at, I know every bitch you sleep with. I know where you keep your bread at, I pretend that I don't see shit. You a greedy motherfucker, you been hoping I don't be shit. You been getting fat while I've been starving. You been buying every car and house while I've been in the garbage. I deserve everything you got and more, and that's a bargain. You just wanna shit on me and see me falling, that's alarming. You just hoping I'ma tarnish, you don't want me to be nothing. You don't wanna open doors for me. You did a little something, but you could've did a little more for me. No wonder why your father turned his back on you, unfortunately. No wonder why your niggas set them traps on you to sorcery. You ain't nothing but a phony, you a liar, you a snake, and you can rap, but you ain't Kendrick, you ain't Cole, you ain't Drake. Can't believe I called you family, I should shoot you in the face. Used to act like you was real, but always knew that you was fake. You let the fame get to your head and all it did was made you whack. I always knew the day would come when you would stab me in my back. One day your money gonna be gone and I'll be happy, that's a fact. And then you'll move back to the hood and I'll be laughing when you back. But you my nigga and I love you, and I wanna see you win, I wouldn't place no one above you. And you always been my friend since we was stepping in the puddles. Real niggas don't pretend, cause you my brother, you my double. You my motherfucking twin, and I wanna let you know how I appreciate the things you show me. It's kinda hard to trust niggas, that's why I keep you closely. And look, I know that I don't tell you often, maybe not even at all, but I'm so proud of you and your success, broski.
I'm up and I won't look down. Hey, long enough to see me drown. And if I ever come down, I'll be falling on the solid ground. Falling on the solid ground. Hey, long enough to see me drown. And if I ever come down, I'll be falling on the solid.
So that was Joyner Lucas's Broski, and I see a lot of people in the chat talking about it. Michelle Hansen said, yeah, I can do without the language and not talking about the profanity. Missed the time we weren't forward to his host. So, Michelle, I get it. You've been on my page, but here's the thing about this video with Joyner Lucas. The character is his brother, and with the language, he wanted to paint the picture of showing you how his brother, you know, was feeling one type of way in front of everybody, but behind everybody, Joyner knew how his brother really felt about him. So using the N-word, dropping the B word when describing women, that was part of the character of what Joyner knew that his brother was really saying. Versus, and if you see at the end how it switched right back to the way the so using that N word, there's a time and place for it, and I agree with that because he was telling the story. And actually, Joyner is actually shopping this Broski video to become a Netflix series with Rotimi as his brother. So, man, oh man, oh man, I love it. I said John. I had to hold John because I know John was like, oh, I had to hold John back. Go on, man. Oh no, he froze. Come back. Don't lose. We don't want to lose John. I gotta hear what he gotta say on this one. Uh-oh. He's come back, John. She said profanity even.
You with me?
Yep, I'm with you now.
Am I back with you?
Yep, you're back. All right. Yep, let me know.
The thing is with that, especially, coming from where we come from, you can relate to it so much because it speaks to that crab in the barrel mentality. Especially I've been able to be pretty successful, in what I do. And I've been able to reach a degree of, of power and position. And when you all come from having nothing and someone acquires something, naturally, it's like when you're growing up, how many siblings did you grow up with, Chief?
One, just my one brother.
Right. Oh, that's all you need is one. when your parents threw something, when you went, if there was only one of something, oh man. It depends on what it is. It might be a celebrity death match for that. You know what I mean? And so that's how we are as a community. We operate from a scarcity mentality instead of an abundance mentality. Scarcity meaning we look at things like there's not enough, so I got to get to it first, and I have to hoard it, and I have to have it. But when you operate from an abundance mentality, when you know that there's enough out there for all of us to eat and be good, then you're trying to collaborate. You're trying to work together. I got these hats from this young lady, Fabiola, she does a podcast. The interview with her is going to drop soon. But in it says, the hat says collaboration over competition, right?
Nice.
And if we can operate competition, right? And if we can operate from that mentality, right, then we can really, truly show love. But we've been taught, like I said earlier in the broadcast, we've been taught and conditioned to distrust and dislike Black male in this country. Specifically. And that isn't a thing. We've been conditioned in the same way. And so when we see our brothers succeed, we can smile and boom, boom. But if I don't have any of that, if you're not sharing that with me, people wonder why all these basketball stars, they got 18 people in their entourage. Well, you know what happens when one of your dogs don't eat. They get hungry. And when they get hungry, they trying to eat the closest thing to them, and that's you. And so we really have to work on that. I believe that brothers in this area are doing a good job at dispelling that. I know my relationship with you, Corey, down at the barber shop. I could go all the way down the line, bro. There are a lot of guys in this community that I got love and respect for. Some of them do podcasts. Some of them are in politics. Some are teaching. Some are in the streets. But we all love and respect one another, and we look out for each other's kids. We look out for each other's mental health. Shout out to Mark and Mike Slade, who do the rant. You know what I mean? They deal with Black men and mental health issues. My goal is to see. I actually spoke with one of the guys from the Diamond Throne podcast about you the other day. Fly Nice. I would love to see all of these podcasts and all of these platforms come together, but I would love to see them come and check you out as an innovator and a pioneer in this industry. I would love for them to connect with you, because we was actually talking and I was like, yo, he was the first one. And he was like, well, wait a minute. I was like, listen, I don't care who you bring up. My man Keith, I bet you if we put they cast for cast, my man's is going back further. So let's make sure that I love the way Nuvi has connected the videographers together. But when it comes to these platforms, this is the future. And in Brockton, Hayes needs to know Keith Hayes and what he did as far as pioneering that and document that. And then we can start building on what other people are doing. But let's get the history and the foundation down first.
Yeah, and thank you for the support, and thank you for that, because a lot of people, you know, I'm not really out here thumping my chest, you know. But when something rubs me the wrong way, I tell people, yo, you have no idea how long I've been doing this. Like I was doing this before there was even a name for it. And Kevin Tachi from WXBR, he'll let you know. He's like, yo, me and Keith was one of the first, and Keith was doing it before everybody, because like I said, the Yin Yang Twins had came across this internet radio thing, and they invited me to be the Boston guy, and they just had me on the pick on me, you know, and then it just took off, you know. I remember going to shows and covering MMA fights with my little camera, and dudes, press was laughing at me like, who's this guy? What the hell's this crap he's got? I'm covering major press events with all this crap. And I'm like, yes, I'm live streaming, you know. And then I took it to Marshfield, and Marshfield Community Access. We was broadcasting live over the internet. We was one of the first cable accesses to be broadcasting live over the internet, and people didn't have a name for it then. So I thank you for that and giving me, because I have seen some people in Boston pumping up their chest about their podcast in Boston and all over, talking about they've been in this game for this long. I'm like, 2008, bro. You late. I see someone they was out there. I'm like, you was late. Yo, you late, bro. You late. Let's get into some other topics right here. Comicbook.com. You need to stop clickbaiting. I'm a gamer, and what I don't like is when people try to clickbait and make something look bad. Comicbook.com. Look, this is what I got to tell. Stop doing that. Stop. Stop doing that. You put a story out there to try to make Xbox Game Pass look bad. And you said Xbox Game Pass locks the biggest new game behind the extra paywall. Here's the deal, people. EA has EA Play, which is like Xbox Game Pass. EA Play just put Need for Speed Unbound, which just came out last October, is now on EA Play, which means if you have an EA Play account, you can play Need for Speed Unbound for free. They tried to spin it and say, well, Xbox Game Pass has it, but you got to pay. You don't got to pay. It's on EA Play. EA Play is part of Xbox Game Pass. You pay an extra $4 a month to have EA Gameplay on your Xbox Game Pass. So stop trying to twist it and make Xbox look bad with a no story. Stop doing that. Stop.
And with that, can we just once again shout out the gaming community? I want to shout out the gaming community, and I want to put out there for Brockton, anyone that is into gaming, serious gaming, connect with me. I
actually got to cut you off of that, because I did meet somebody. Black-owned business in Brockton, brand spanking
Mickey's
new.
Lounge.
Mickey's Gaming Lounge. I was there when the place hadn't even opened yet. John and I had talked before COVID. John and I actually had talked about trying to get esports in the schools because my son games. But one of the things I've learned by going to some of these Call of Duty championships, the money's there. It's growing. And the thing with gaming, it brings out autistic kids and introverted kids into a sport that they can compete. A lot of kids, they don't like contact sports. A lot of kids don't like football. They don't like basketball. But there are a lot of kids in the Brockton school system who will play Fortnite and you can make money off these games now. I just watched the Call of Duty championships.
We don't have the avenues. I spoke to Jeff over there. Shout out to Jeff and his family, his beautiful family over at Mickey's Gaming Lounge. I spoke to him about what we can do to utilize that space and utilize. I actually, once again, that was another arena. I brought up your name because I know how
hit me up if you're looking to get the schools and getting a gaming school, and you can have school against school.
My goal is this. First and foremost, we have to have a championship in Madden, 2K, FIFA, Fortnite, and COD. We have to have a championship every year of the city, and we have to look at developing those teams to start sending them to tournaments. If we're not doing that, then we're way behind.
Yeah, because I just watched the Call of Duty championships was last weekend, and they now have what they call is a challengers division. These are the kids and people who aren't pros yet. They're working their way to pros. So if you get into this challengers division, you play on the but these are kids. And the money, look, Boston Breach finished 4th place in the championships last week. They took home 80 grand. The 4th place, the team at top of them took 160 grand. The winners last weekend, New York Subline, they took home $1.5 million for Call of Duty.
and I know with Madden, when you go through those ladder championships and the Madden Bowl, you're talking $250,000 for one game. You know what I mean?
And the Madden championship last year and the year before, the kid that represented the Patriots, he competed and he didn't get no press or nothing from this area, and he should have.
In the Madden Bowl, if you look at the Madden Bowl last year, it was Henry versus Wesley. Right, that kid Wesley, I played him 5 years ago at the Madden 25 Premier Tournament. It was less than that because it was right before the pandemic down in Atlanta. And I'm telling you, there are people. I know my son; he's an avid gamer. He's nice and a lot of Madden, FIFA, MLB Show.
FIFA's that one that a lot of people don't realize. FIFA's a big one, and we've got the people here for that because we got the Guatemalan, the Haitian. So FIFA would be big here in Brockton, but we definitely got to talk about that. Let's stay in top with that. Let's get into the sports booth, guys. Big trade last week, and I know we got to blow through this show. We're at 8:31, but Marcus Smart is gone. Kristaps Porzingus is here, and guess what? This was a love-hate trade for me. We need a guy like Porzingus here. We do. We definitely do. Let's be real. Marcus Smart, great defensive player, but he had a couple of downsides that I know when I watch the arguing with the refs that cost these guys some time at the free throw line. Got kind of tired of that. He had a couple of costly ones in that last series. Somebody said putting up unnecessary threes. That's the whole league right now. That's a whole nother topic. Yeah. That's the whole league right now. But one of the things is the flopping. Marcus Smart and his bad acting. I'm not going to miss that.
Hey, Keith, my question is this. Do you think that this team could have won a championship? I don't.
After watching Miami Heat get taken down, I think the Celtics would have went the same route. That team's too strong. Joker's nasty.
And so you're seeing all these teams getting better. We had to make a move. We had to break this team up. There's no way we could have kept going down this road with this team. I honestly think they have to make another move. If you went and you took Marcus Smart out the picture, JB or JT, one of those are next. That's how I see it, because I don't start looking at building a championship team now.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown bought his new condo down in Seaport. He's not going anywhere. JT's not going anywhere. The key is a lot of people are saying Malcolm Brogdon, is he the guy? Is Horford coming back? I felt like Robert Williams didn't get the time he should have got. I felt like that would have been a whole different series if Robert Williams was in there. And again, that's the coach. You know, the coach, he didn't really have his staff in there. He was thrust into the season right as the season started, he didn't have a time to get anything together because when they let Ume go, the season was about to begin.
Yeah.
So bringing Sam Cassell in, that's going to set him up to be a better coach next year. And if he isn't, he'll be gone and Sam Cassell will be head coach year after.
We brought in a few assistants. We might have the best assistant coach staff in the league.
Yeah.
Honestly, we brought in a few assistants. Joe and me, I went to game one against Miami. I went to game one. I was with Roe and Tim Young, one of the best point guards to come out of Brockton. Shout out Tim Young in McGriff Films. And the one thing we kept asking was, why is Peyton Pritchard playing so much? Why didn't Grant Williams play game one? And we win game one. That totally shifts that series around.
Yes, yep,
right?
It does.
It was coaching. I think Boston will field a competitive team, but unless we make another move, we're in some serious trouble because a lot of teams got a lot better.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. Also in the sports booth, Jet fans. Oh man, I hope he's coming back in. Jets fans are pissed. Hard Knocks this year is going to be with the Jets. I'll be tuning back in to watch Hard Knocks this season because I have already said on this show, bringing Aaron Rodgers in is going to be an effing train wreck. And now we are going to see the train wreck courtesy of Hard Knocks. Felicia, how's it going? Sorry so late, but you can watch it anytime. Matt Stanton, what's going on? But yeah, I can't wait. Hopefully we can get John back in here. Be checked out. Breaking news before this show came on the air, and I know we're probably going to break it down on Drafting the Circus tomorrow night, but NASCAR's Jimmie Johnson was scheduled to race in Chicago this weekend. He's not going to be racing this weekend. Jimmie Johnson's in-laws were found dead in a suspected murder. The mother, the father, it looks like the mother-in-law shot the nephew and the husband dead, and then she shot herself in this. I just, craziness. Biden bombshells. Let me get out of here. Comes back in. Biden bombshells. I'm going to hold off and talk about this next week, but I'm just going to mention what we're going to talk about because next week is First Tuesdays. My guy Ken Diesel and Robert Resnick. But if you guys were paying attention this weekend, Russia almost broke out into a full-blown civil war. Felicia says she had chemo yesterday, wasn't feeling well. Glad you're feeling better. Glad you tuned into the booth. And I'm glad to see you here today. I'm actually headed into surgery tomorrow for my knee, for my torn meniscus. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm ready to go. But yeah, next week, we're going to break this down because when it first started coming through, we had a little group chat, me and Ken and Rob. And, I talked about it, but, Rob is a military guy. He always wants to wait till he gets more info. And as this whole conversation was going on, Rob was starting to say, hey. And, Ken was starting to chime in. So these guys are going to talk about this and what the impact does this battle with the Ukraine and how much this hurt Putin. We're going to get into it. I'm going to just tease it for now, but we're going to break it down next week on First Tuesdays. Thank you, everybody, for touching in with the show. Great stuff. Get my banners up here. Thank you for everybody who supports the show. All those beanies right there. Thank God summer's here. We don't have to be wearing the beanies, but these are all the shows I produce. I actually got to update this. I am now producing a new show. I'll be mentioning that in 1 second. But those are the shows I produce. Drafting the Circus on Wednesday nights. Oscar Mike Radio on Thursday nights. Maddie C Sports for you and me on Sundays. Happy Hour with Lido at 9 o'clock on Tuesday nights. And then other shows that I've been involved with. Talk Back with Gloria Shea and She Talks Football podcast. Also, this weekend coming up next week, next Tuesday, There will be no booth on Tuesday, so we're going to be on Monday. So please enjoy your 4th of July. On the 4th of July, John's coming back in. Hold on, let me get John in here. Good. I want you. I'm getting ready to close out the show, but I want you to be able to say goodbye, man. I gotta get.
Yeah, my phone had died out. Everybody, please.
No. Hold on. Not yet. Don't do it yet. I got a thing on screen right now. 4th of July is Tuesday. Calling 911 on the 4th of July. This is what is nationwide. No, these are no things for 911 on 4th of July. 1, don't tie up 911 because people are setting off fireworks. Don't blow up 911 for that. We know that they're not supposed to have fireworks in some cities and towns, but guess what? It's the one day. If they want to pop off, just let them pop off. It's going to be over. Don't burn up the 911 for that. Number 2, don't call 911 because the firework debris is landing in your yard from the fireworks that's going on for the city or town. If you lived on the west side and you live by the fairgrounds and the shells were falling into your yard, just clean it up. Don't call 911. Don't call 911 because your wife is upset because she can't sleep because she's trying to go to bed at 8:30 and the fireworks are at 10 o'clock. Don't call 911 for that. Also, people, don't call 911 if your cat or dog is upset and hiding because of the fireworks. Please don't call 911. If you want to call 911, here's a list of things that police say or firemen say. These are the things you call your 911 right away. Number 1, on July 4th, if the people are firing fireworks and they just set their house on fire, yes.
Yes.
Call 911. Yes. If you're standing in your yard and the fireworks display seems a little excessive and bloody body parts start landing in your backyard or your front yard, you probably should call 911. If you're laying next to your wife and she won't wake up during the fireworks, you probably should call 911. And if your cat got the gun and starts shooting back, you probably should call 911. So people, for July 4th, that's a list put together by police and firemen for reasons why you should call 911. Also, again, Brockton After Dark, July 5th, it begins. There's a whole bunch of events. Check it out. Felicia, Sammy Sergio, he says, thank you for keeping it real. Linda Texera Ray says, I need this list. It's actually posted on my Facebook page. You can grab it there. Brockton After Dark returns July 5th. Also, July 14th and 15th. Hey, I know the show is based in Brockton, but I meet people who are doing events all over the country because I travel. I met these people. Their daughter, Savannah, she accidentally died in her garage, in her car, for carbon monoxide. She died. Savannah Strong is the organization. July 14th and 15th, they have a slingshot event in Indianapolis, July 14th and 15th, to raise money. Hashtag Savannah Strong. Please check them out. Please donate. They're trying to do things all over the country. Also, my slingshot ride is July 29th. Remember, people, this ride, all the people who come for this ride from York, Connecticut and stuff, the ride takes off from here at Brockton Westgate Mall at the Best Buy parking lot. Last year we had 28 slingshots. 14 of those started in Brockton. So it's a good time to bring your kids down and see some crazy vehicles. I can tell you right now, I'm booking this on Eventbrite. We're already over the amount of slingshots we had last year. So it's going to be, when we leave out of Westgate Mall this year, it's going to be a movie. Open mic nights, Fridays, 46 Bedford Street, Fall River, Boom Squad Radio. Head on down there. Also, Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography. Viana Marie in the picture right there. Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography for women who think they would never take these type of photos. You get the confidence. You end up taking these photo sessions. And here it is right here, people. The new podcast that I am out there and doing right now. Last week was the first episode. He's already reached 500 followers on Facebook. Bar Studios veteran reinforcement, Dougie Macedo. It's his show. We premiered it on Saturday. We're going to be coming up with a special night. He's already got his sponsors. So big ups to him for coming out and doing this. And we got a good thing going on here. And let me get back here to the screen with my guest. John C., before we get out of here, tell them how they can follow you, say your goodbyes and your shout outs, man.
Yes, sir. John C. Williams for mayor. Definitely check me out, John C. Williams on Facebook. Check me out, John C. Williams for mayor.com. I will be at the City Hall Amphitheater Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 2 and from 6 to 8. Every Tuesday and Thursday leading up to the election. Please, no matter who you're voting for, vote. Get out to the polls and vote. The time for just talking about things is over. If you want to create a change, if you want a real change, you know me. You know I'll go to the end of the road and back for Brockton. I'll go to the end of the road and back. So pay attention to the issues. Please get out and vote. If you have somebody that's incarcerated, that's awaiting trial, they can vote. So encourage them to vote. If you have people that are incarcerated due to a misdemeanor, they can vote. Encourage them to vote. It's time we take our community back. We have options this year. Peace.
Yeah, and there's a good video that I used to show from a rapper. I forget his name, Yellow. I forget his full name. The video was called "My Vote Don't Count," and then he did a second video called "My Vote Does Count." And I was showing that video on Brockton Hub and everywhere, and to be honest, there was a lot of people like, "Wow, really broke it down." Like he breaks it down.
Keith, I really got to give this shout out before I go.
Yeah, go for it.
I appreciate the platform. For anyone, for young women, for women, period, or if you know of a woman that is trapped in a sex trade or addicted to drugs and alcohol, get in touch with Jasmine Grace Outreach. That's jasminegrace.org, info@jasminegrace.org, for the email, Jasmine Grace Outreach for Facebook, Jasmine Grace Marino for Instagram. What this young lady is doing for young women, if we know, we know. In Brockton, the sex trafficking and the sex trade is rampant here, especially with our young girls. And so if you're out there, or if you know someone or your homegirl or anybody, please, I've seen and heard what Jasmine Grace is doing. Reach out. All right. Please.
What I'm going to do is tap in, get me your info, because I'd love to get her on the show. Number one. Number two, I'd like to get her banner and put her banner as one of the banners that I show at the end of my show every week. I'd love to get that banner from her. And then if you end up coming up with a banner to let people know where you're going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays, if you come up with an official banner, send that to me, and I'll let that play at the end of my show every week until the election time happens. Anybody who's running for election, my show is open for them to put anything out there that they want to put out to show and get people to vote for them and elect for them. I got to actually reach out to Hamilton and see if he had anything that he wanted to put up. And I had Jamal Brathwaite was also on. He was another one that's running. And like I said, I have Steve Hook it's coming on. And I actually seen Mr. Durancourt. I ran into him. So everybody's trying to get on this show, and I'm very blessed. You know, I'm very blessed. Sometimes you don't think the impact that you have in the city until election time rolls around and people start getting in your inbox, and you realize, oh, okay, there is a little bit of noise. And people forget. Here's the thing: you talked about this podcast thing, and here's going way back. When I was at WXBR, we were the first radio station remote in the state to cover elections live over the internet. It was Jazz Stewart was running for mayor, and we were actually at a black bar establishment down on Montello Street. Jeff Summers. It was Jeff Summers' establishment. And we were down there. We broadcasted live over the internet with our equipment. And we were the first to broadcast a political night over the internet. We were the first.
Yeah.
So people who are out here talking about, I've been doing aren't. I'm just.
That's Brockton.
and I know if Jeff Summers is watching, if Jeff Summers sees this, Jeff Summers will say, hell yeah, they was at my bar. They set up at my bar. They set up at my bar. Jeff Summers will tell you. So
we do get back to covering elections the way that we used to here in Brockton.
So
I feel like
last year,
gone and
before we get out of here, that is an issue. That is an issue because, and I'm going to speak on it. Honestly, first and foremost, Brockton Cable Access, Community Access should be holding that down every year. Last year, it was a scheduling thing. If I remember correctly, the night of the debates or whatever, there was something else going on. Basketball, there was something. So you got to really work out your schedule. The problem is that Brockton Community Access is shorthanded. They're very shorthanded with the people that they have down there. And Newbie Rateau is doing a damn good job of getting kids down there and getting them involved. So big ups to Newbie Rateau for trying to get kids involved down there.
Shout out to Newbie. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I've always felt like somebody actually reached out to me and actually asked, they wanted, because there's money in the budget for these after school programs. Someone actually did reach out to me about doing a podcast training for part of this Brockton after dark type thing. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I got hit by a car in February. I really can't put a lot out there right now. But it is something that I would do for this. I wouldn't mind doing for the summer. To be honest, I feel like Brockton High the students should have their own. Southeastern had their podcast, but Brockton High should have a podcast that's created by the students, produced by the students, and it should be airing and linked with the Brockton Cable Community Access. I think that's a big thing. No question. And that's something we can definitely talk about later on off the air when things get. I got to thank everybody for tuning in the show, hanging out with us. John C., get that bandit to me, get that contact to me so I can get her on the show. I need her on my show because that's a very strong subject that we do talk about on this show. And a lot of people don't want to get into it. I got to thank everybody for tuning in the show. Dave Haggerty, Linda Texera Reyes, Felicia, what's going on? Patricia.
Shout out my people.
Sammy Sergio, I'm hitting you up. There's a lot of things I got to go down there and talk to Sammy about going down there and doing some stuff at Gigi's Lounge, man. You got to get down there. Everybody, thank you so much. SpongeBob, I need you to do me a favor, SpongeBob. Can you take us home?
Well, see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to The Booth on Hoobazoo and HatcherRadio.com. Please follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Booth is a Sinister One production hosted by Sinister One.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe a little more down in here. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I smoke, I drink, I do my thing. These bitches hating, so you know I got to make it plain. Don't do cocaine, but your chick, my main. We stick together, true forever, yeah, you know we bang. I miss those days, which was easy. If only I make it, bitch, don't repeat. Now that I done upgraded, I've been upstate, and y'all think I'm playing. And I got a hit now for these weak assholes who think I ain't slaying. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing, cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip, I don't need that shit, I got my own now. I get hurt, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything, I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
WHOOBAZOO, that's whobazoo.com.
Enter website, enter website, enter website, enter website.